Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to take this little Mustang radio-controlled car, which takes, what kind of batteries, honey?
Zuzus?
Well, they're Zuzu batteries, yes, but they're, actually those aren't Zuzus, are they? Those are Wii batteries.
Wii batteries.
So they're double A's, and we're going to convert it to a 9.6 battery, kind of a regular remote control battery. A little bit longer battery life and probably a little bit faster too. So we'll start by taking the body off the chassis, and then that'll get to the wires and everything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll start the conversion then. Okay?
What?
Okay, we've taken off the tires on the back so that it closes the screws. There's another little screw in there on the bottom.
Where?
See him down there, honey? See down there? And what we'll do is we take off the ones on the bottom there, and then it'll allow us to separate the battery, or the body rather, from chassis, so we can get to there. So wheels have to come off, at least on the back, and then we'll be able to get in there and find out what we need to modify.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? We're going to change the batteries from Wii batteries to a battery pack, like Daddy has in his radio-controlled car.
Battery patty?
Battery pack.
Battery booty?
Okay. Okay, now I got the cover off. The lights are still connected, so the wires are right there. So that's why I can't take it completely apart. I mean, I could, but why bother? So now I'm cutting out the AA battery holders. We're gonna get rid of these so that the 9.6 will then fit into that same slot. So that's our next project. We're gonna get rid of all these dividers for the AA's, make this flat, file this down. We'll have to cut the sides off, we'll have to notch these and get rid of that so the battery pack fits in low so we can put the stock cover back on. Now just working on getting the rest of the plastic dividers out from the AA's. And just kind of work the screwdriver around. So you have a pretty clean break. Because you'll need to get that as flat as you can, because you want the battery, the new battery pack, the 9.6, to fit down as far in as it can, because you want to be able to use that original battery cover. Once you get all those out of the way, then you can file the rest of the way, or if you have a Dremel tool, just kind of make that all flat. So what you need to do now is cut out the sides. See over here, there's no sides there, and that's so the battery sits all the way down, so we can use the stock battery cover. That's the idea anyway. So when that gets all cut down, the snaps will still, the places to snap it in are still going to be there, but the sides from here to here we're going to get rid of. That way the battery pack will fit down right inside the channel very nicely and flat. Relatively flat. And again, we don't need to do anything crazy here, we just need to get rid of the sides. So you want to just kind of make a line, just make sure you're right on the edge. Again, so you're able to still utilize the stock battery cover. So we'll saw away on that a little bit and we'll cut off the sides with the hacksaw. Okay, so we don't need the sides, so just kind of work them loose a little bit. They should just kind of break right off. Now again, you're taking out a great deal of rigidity of the chassis, but the cool thing about this is the battery pack will actually act as rigidity as well. So when you get that in there, it's actually going to help stiffen the whole thing. So see, you don't need that. That's what's kind of cool. So it's, you know, you're taking out a vital part of the of the chassis, but because the battery pack is essentially the same shape, it's going to work out pretty well. should fit in there pretty well. And then, again, just taking your time, cover, snaps into place. So now with it pretty much set, I mean, it sticks out a little bit. It's not a perfect fit, but if you spend a little more time smoothing it out, and I will, but that's essentially the theory, is now the 9/6 fits in where that is, and it returns, it's still pretty rigid. So we'll turn to getting a pigtail for this and soldering it on the ready control car. Okay, so we made the modifications necessary to incorporate the 9/6 battery. So now that fits nicely inside here, inside the compartment. Now what we've done is we've added the 9/6 connector. You can get that at Radio Shack. And then we soldered it into place with the necessary wires, one to ground and one to, in this case, the positive switch is where the positive lead is. So you got to leave it a little bit free, but try and, you know, make it as secure as possible so it's not going to pull the wires away. And then this will go inside here, and then once it's back inside, this will stick out a little bit to accommodate the battery. So we'll give it a test here and find out how it works, just to make sure that all the motors, that the motor works and it turns and goes forward and backward. Okay, we have the battery and it's connected and the switch is on, so just for testing purposes, we want to make sure it works. So there we go. So we're almost done with our 9/6 conversion. Now just button everything back up and make sure everything's going to work properly with it all in place. We're almost done. I have the body mounts cut out so it can accommodate where the battery's going to sit. And the last thing that I want to say about this is you got to make sure when you're doing stuff like this, there's a couple essential tools. One of which is like a mini hacksaw. Either just you can get a full-size one, or you can get the little hobby one, which works really well. If you have to get through something, big hacksaw is good. But those little those hobby hacksaws, they I know I think Lifelike Trains actually manufactures them, or they're sold on the brand, but I'd imagine there are some other hobby hacksaws that work very well. Another thing too is a hot glue gun. Now you might think that's what in the world's a hot glue gun doing in a hobbyist cupboard. Well, it's because they're awesome. They work for everything. They bonds instantly. It works super well. It works hot or cold, and it's just one of those things that's necessary, particularly when you're putting these lights back in. Put it back in the socket, put a little hot glue around it, hold it for about 30 seconds, and it's back in place. It just works so remarkably well, and I don't even own one. This is my wife's. I'm not exactly sure if she knows that I'm using it for this, but what she doesn't know won't hurt her. Well, it's back together. Got the wheels on. We'll buff it out a little bit too, but basically everything fits pretty well. You can kind of see the battery pack there. What's nice about this particular conversion is that there's a screw here, screw hole down, and while normally that's a pain, this actually helps because the batteries stick out just a little bit higher. You can kind of see where it is right there. All in all, it's not bad. It fits in pretty nicely, and again, it adds rigidity to it. It's a nice weight. It runs pretty well, and I think he's going to be real happy with the conversion. Yes, because I've already done one. I had to do one for my friend. So I think we're good to go. So that's how you convert regular AA to a 9/6. And again, this one just happened to work really well because of the configuration of the battery compartment.